Hi everyone and welcome along to today's video. This one is the pre-winter plumbing checks. Today is a horrible day out there and it's the ideal day to do a little bit of maintenance before winter onsets. I know it's August at the moment, 21, and it's summer. Your last thing you're thinking about is winter, but believe me, it's a good time to have a check over your plumbing system before winter comes and it's too late, as it were. So things to check first: central heating thing first. Turn your central heating boiler on and make sure it's all working properly. Your rad's heat up. I know it's summer and you don't want the heating on, but just for about an hour, just to run it, make sure everything's working and you're quite happy with it. Make sure there's no air in any radiators and everything is fine. For combi boilers, make sure your pressure is up between 1.2 and 1.5 bars. For those of you with F&E systems, a good idea is to go up into the loft and check the little small storage tank. Over the 3 or 4 months of summer, in England probably a couple of weeks, only joking, but what happens is you don't use your heating much during the summertime and the little tank tends to dry out. The valve often jams in the tank and it virtually empties out. And what would happen then is the water level would get lower and lower in the system. As you go to use it through the winter, you'll find rads dropping off, not getting hot upstairs. And this is because that tank can be dry. I often got called out to this type of thing. So all you do is go up there, take the lid off the tank, and you'll see the ball valve there. Just grab hold of the arm and just move it up and down a few times to make sure that water is filling into the tank okay. Moving on, what else do we need to do? Well, another important one is the main stopcock. Make sure that that turns and works fine. Believe you me, if you need that stopcock, you'll want to make sure it's going. In a desperate situation, it must work. So give it a few turns, make sure it's working properly. Also, all of you with F&E systems, you'll probably find you've got a gate valve, hopefully in your airing cupboard. It may even be up by the loft tank, that shuts the hot water off. It shuts the feed to the cylinder off so you can get the hot water off in emergency. If that doesn't work, you've got to drain the whole hot water tank down, and it's a bit of a nightmare where it's the roof tank you actually drain. But you need to get that off sharpish. You need that gate valve to work. So check that that's working. Let's say some are in the airing cupboard, some unfortunately are up in the roof by the tank. So you've got to go up there and find it coming out of the tank there somewhere. So another one to look for, just make sure it works. And moving on from that, make sure you've got no overflows running or no drips from anywhere, because if it freezes, you'll find that freezes up and will overflow inside. So make sure all your toilet valves, and if you've got a roof tank, as I say, on an F&E system, make sure it's not overflowing outside or leaking. That leads us to another one really that is probably not ever looked at, and that's to check your main outside stopcock in the road, or maybe in the garden. But just make sure the box isn't full up with earth. Now, all the companies don't like us to turn these off, but believe you me, if you've got a dire emergency and your inside stopcock is broke and you're flooding and you need to get that water off outside as a last course of action, you've got to get it off. So the last thing you want is a load of mud and dirt blocking the way to the tap. I know it'd be nice, you can check the tap works, but as I say, you don't need to do that really. At the end of the day, as long as at least you can get to it, so you're not really supposed to touch those taps down there, but at least if you've got access to it, you can at least remedy the situation if you've got a dire emergency going on. Alright, that leads us now on to things like gutters. Now, I wouldn't advise cleaning them just yet. I would wait till all the leaves have fallen off the trees, so sometime around about November sometime. That's the time to get up there, clean all those leaves out of the gutters, clear the swan necks out. Also, what else people forget about is a lot of these hoppers drop into small little drains. They're kind of little circular drains. They may be soakaways, but they would be like a U shape, like a waste trap type soakaway design with a little grill on top. Now they silt up. Take the grill off, get some waterproof gloves if you can, get your hand down it and pull all the silt out so that that runs away freely, because if it doesn't, then it's running everywhere all over the place, causing a real mess. So something else to look out for. And that is about it. Just keep a general check on everything else. If your pressure drops at all, if you noticed it dropped on the combi boiler over the time, then do be careful that you haven't got a leak anywhere. Do check all your radiators, the valves especially, because they get little weeps on them sometimes from the packing glands. Just weep a tiny bit and let some of the pressure go. And also the same, obviously, if you've got an F&E, you'd see any tiny leaks. Go around all those, because they do run. You'll see a little run mark down the pipe anyway, to address those before winter comes. Now, I'm sure you guys probably got plenty of other tips out there that I've missed, and if you have, please jot them down in the description underneath, what things you also regard as being needing checking. Okay, that's about it from me. Just a little one before the onslaught of winter comes and gets us. All my videos, you know where they go. Usual place, Derek and 33. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.